Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Billionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Before we start, man, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm on the road to 1K subscribers, and without your help, I can't get there. So please hit that subscribe button for me. Also, hit that notification bell and select all so you get notified every time your boy go live. Today, man, we're going to tap in with Fox, RJTalksTv, and LV Nation, man. There's so much fraud being exposed, and it's just every single day we're hearing just new things coming out. And so we're going to tap in with new fraud allegations in California with Gavin Newsom, and it's way more massive than even Minnesota is, bro. And that has been a huge story that we'll get into. Also, because Tim Walz is possibly getting investigated. Like he's getting investigated. He might go to jail because there's some new revelations coming out that Tim Walz is way more involved in what's going on, which would explain his quick exit from the governor's race coming up. So, bro, it's just massive, bro. This stuff is massive, man. But this is the thing. Donald Trump said he is going to expose the fraud, waste, and abuse in the government. And now that he is, you would think that a lot of people would be actually happy. Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. You finally have a president who is actually exposing the massive welfare fraud that's going on, the Somalian fraud that's going on, them using different, scams. Now we're seeing it going on in California. We know this is going on in Democrat and Republican states. Also, another story that I'm gonna just talk briefly on right now. But we're not gonna go over that today. But there was a list that came out proving that there was a guy, I don't know his name, but he was Maduro's right-hand man who was trying to come out and basically, he got, I think, 21 years for some things he did or whatever, probably with drugs and whatnot. And he was trying to cooperate and talk with the Biden administration, and they curved him. So now, under Trump's administration, this guy has dropped a bombshell list. And on this list are actual senators and congressmen and women who were basically getting money, bro. They were getting paid, bro. And listen, bro, this is not really shocking, bro. This is not really shocking. Like, people think that these things only happen in movies, like as if the cartel isn't going to be bribing, U.S. politicians in order to get drugs into the country. You know what I mean? And other illegal activities that they want to do. Bro, listen, money talks. And these people are receiving large amounts of money. And this is why we're able to see people like Ilhan Omar go from being broke and in debt to being $30 million rich. And in what, a year? So it's so much stuff going on. And Donald Trump is exposing it. And this is why I'll keep saying it and I'll keep saying it. They're not mad at Donald Trump for doing the things that he's doing. For instance, we're going to go over the Maduro thing. And plain and simple, bro, Maduro's been on the chopping block for years now. And even Biden put $25 million on his head. And we'll go into that. But it's all fake. It's fake, bro. It's fake. These people, it's not about truth. It's not about getting the fraud, waste, and abuse out of the government for Democrats. No. And Republicans too. For them, they're coming at Donald Trump because he's pulling back the lid, bruh, on all of this. And these people know that they're involved. And this is what they're afraid of. They're involved. They're going to be indicted. They're going to be possibly jailed, in prison. And also, he's going to, stop the faucet from running. And that's what they're truly mad about the most, is that they are no longer going to be able to defraud the American taxpayer anymore. Now this money will go where it needs to go, or it's not going to go to these places anymore. We already see Donald Trump already pulling back funding to Minnesota. So this stuff is deep, bro. And it's funny to me because it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does. They just have to oppose him regardless, you know. And I don't. Does he play that on this clip? I don't think he does. But recently, The View was talking about this whole Maduro thing, and they're trying to make Donald Trump, like, oh, he kidnapped Maduro, like as if this guy wasn't an illegitimate president. Whether it's about oil or not, this guy was already his day was going to come regardless. But now they're trying to make it seem like Trump did something and he didn't have congressional approval and all of this garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. You go back, not even 2 years ago, and you see Democrats who were talking ill of Maduro and saying that this guy is illegitimate, he's a dictator, he's, killing his people, all types of stuff. 8 million Venezuelans was in exile. Like it was so much with this guy, and now all of a sudden it's free Maduro. Like, come on, bro. That's what I said, bro. It's theater, it's politics, it's fake. It's fake news, bro. And who is the one that's been exposing the fake news for years? Donald J. Trump, bro. Donald Trump. You know, this stuff is wild, man. Anyway, let's get into it.
Come on, come all to the traveling fraud circus. From Minnesota to California and even Mississippi. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows.
Mississippi entering day one of jury selection for the state's high-profile welfare fraud trial. We'll have more on that coming up. But first, California is entering a fraud fiasco of its own. President Trump taking to truth, saying, quote, "The fraud investigation has just begun."
This follows California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton claiming his CaliFraud tip line has uncovered up to $250 billion in potential.
Bro, what the fuck? Bro, 250 billion. What is that? That's like 15x what Minnesota, allegedly is topped out at, what they say, 18. Bro, we're talking about 10 times the amount of money that Minnesota is defrauding from the government, bro. So much of our money gone, bro. And this is why California is a shithole. And this is why so much homelessness and all this, because the money isn't going where it needs to go. It's not going where it needs to go, bro. These people are robbing us, bro. We got to come together. Well, we got to come together on this one, bro.
Welfare fraud based on hundreds of whistleblower reports and calling for a federal investigation. Of course, the governor's office, if you could call him a governor, denies those numbers, slamming the investigation as, quote, MAGA made up numbers.
Joining us now, California Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton. Steve, great to see you. All right, so the numbers you're citing are making Minnesota kind of look like small potatoes, and I didn't think that was possible. So to take us into what you're finding, what do you think it means for California?
So when the first Minnesota scandal blew up around about Thanksgiving, I was out saying at the time, whatever is going on in Tim Walz's Minnesota, you can be sure it's 1,000 times worse in Gavin Newsom's California. That's a kind of rhetorical statement, but then I tried to put some numbers on it. So immediately, about a month ago, I set up a tip line, califraud.com, because one of the factors in Minnesota was that you'd had whistleblowers for years trying to alert people to this. And Tim Walz and the Democrat machine were trying to silence them. Well, a month has gone on. We've had hundreds of tips and putting together the tips. Remember, I'm not in office yet. I've been working with a candidate for state controller, Herb Morgan, and together he's running as well, going to be elected in November alongside me. And we've taken a look at the categories of fraud that have been highlighted through the tip lines and these hundreds of tips. And we've looked at the budgets. We've looked at the scale of error in some of the welfare systems that have already been reported. Some of the reports already that have been done in California, for example, by the state auditor on homelessness that identified $24 billion there. The Employment Development Department lost $55 billion in the pandemic. So we've taken all of that together to get.
He said they lost $55 billion during the pandemic. They lost it. Hey, and Gavin Newsom is saying this is made up numbers. And this guy is giving you actual numbers from the budget, from these budgets, like accurate numbers. God damn.
Get an estimate of what the total is in California.
Yo, in the end, bro, when this is said and done, which is probably not going to be for a couple of years, it's going to be in the trillions of dollars, bro, of fraud that's been wasted probably within the last decade. You don't even want to go back further than that because I know it's even worse. But, bro, we're talking about trillions of dollars possibly, bro. Just gone. Just gone. And this is why people need to go to prison, bro. Prison.
California. We think it's actually
Fuck
at
running for a
least
race.
$250 billion,
That's
at
crazy.
least. And actually, that number doesn't even include some areas where we have found it hard to really make an estimate, but they were highlighted through the tip line. For example, public sector pension abuse. We had a number of tips around practices like double dipping, where people towards the end of their career, they get paid a pension while they're still being paid their salary, or spiking the pension contributions at the end. So that increases the amount dramatically at the end. So there's still a lot of work to do. But what our report does is give us a roadmap for the investigation that once we're elected, we can do a top to bottom review and stop, crucially, stop the fraud and stop the spending so we can end the bloat, end this welfare industrial complex, and cut taxes in California.
Steve, I've talked with so many people about this. You do need to give incentives to whistleblowers where
Exactly.
if you, and it does work. Look at this Dana-Farber Cancer Center whistleblower who's some like nerd, like biologist in Wales who busted, I digress, but it involved like grants from the National Institutes of Health. But if you give them, say, hey, whatever we get out of this organization, whatever we uncover, you get to keep some of it. People will be coming out of the woodwork.
What?
I totally agree. Once I'm elected, I'll be able to do that.
That's what they got to do. They got to do that, bro. And people will come forward if they incentivized to. But just think about anywhere where there is so-called free money, free grant, free money being given out, there is fraud going on within it, bro. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, bro, they're using dead people. Like, it's no rules to this. They're scamming every aspect that you can think of when it comes to, and this is why they incentivize, because people think that they want you to be on welfare because they want to help you, because they love you and care for you as an American, and they want to see you eat and have shelter. No, they need you're just a number. You're just a body that's on the rolls that they're able to manipulate and use in order to get their kickbacks and whatever the scam is. Trust me, they could care less because we see that they're using dead people. They're using dead people voting, dead people getting all of this money. God damn.
Officially
Let's
as
finish
part
a
of the
little bit of this.
policy. But we're already seeing, I mean, another category, very interesting, which was job inflation. We had a number of reports of people are saying, look, in the school system, where you give yourself a new title that sounds like a promotion, which attracts a higher pay grade, more money, but you're doing the same job. So we need to get into all of this. We don't have actual numbers on that yet. There's another whole category, which is going to be the focus for my next stage of this, which is the climate fraud. Because there's a whole other thing going on in California, the cap and trade system, which is basically a tax on energy production and energy supply. That generates billions of dollars of payments that goes out to all these ridiculous nonprofits doing nothing. There's so much more to uncover. We're going to do it.
Man,
Hey, they, yeah, just when you think they got the whole shebang, there's some more coming out. It's just so much, man. Every day, bro. Every single day, there's something coming out and being exposed. And it's Trump's administration doing it. And it's hilarious, bro, because the news, you would think that, Donald Trump is doing something wrong. You would think, because all they report is negative shit, even though his numbers are actually improving. People are actually fucking with the things that Donald Trump is doing. And I think, like I said this in the last show, because I was fucked up yesterday. I didn't go live yesterday. But in the other show, I was saying basically this whole Maduro situation really, really exposed a lot, because we already know they're fake. We know most of it's political theater, and they truly don't even feel the way they really don't even care about most of these things that they act like they do. Because with the Maduro situation, Republicans and Democrats agreed that Maduro was a bad person, illegitimate president. He basically didn't, you know, give up the power when he lost the election and all of that stuff. And it's a lot more to that whole thing too. People, the oil and all that stuff. Cool, but Democrats and Republicans agreed on this. This is why even on The View, Anna Navarro, I think her name is, when Sonny Holston and all of them were, trying to say, oh, this was Maduro was kidnapped, and making all of this stuff up about it, making it seem like what Trump did was bad. This is why Anna Navarro, as a Spanish, she knows. Like, listen, everybody, all these people are ecstatic that Trump did what he did, bro. Like, they're not mad whatsoever, bro. And even she agreed, and she hates Trump. Like, with all her soul, she hates Trump. So for her to say that, like, speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, to be honest. And it goes to show you that they're fake. It's fake. It's fake. Anything that Donald Trump does, bro, even if they know is good, they find a way to criticize it. They find a way to try to make it illegitimate, bro. Plain and simple. With every single thing this man does. It's crazy. But let's get into this next story.
So Democrats like AOC are starting a fight with John Fetterman because he is calling them out for their lies about what happened between Maduro and...
Fetterman is probably one. It's probably a few of them, Pretty sure every single Democrat isn't a piece of shit, but the party definitely is. But Fetterman is probably one of the few. I'm going to say he's the only one that's outspoken that I know of that's a Democrat who calls out their bullshit, bro. He calls out their bullshit. He calls it for what it is, bullshit. And this is a prime example of it right here.
Basically Donald Trump getting him in the middle of the night. And this is what's crazy about it, right? So people are calling John Fetterman a sellout because he's a Democratic senator, but he doesn't care. He's not holding back. And in fact, he's showing up the receipt. He's showing us the receipts, and he's showing you and showing AOC that she's a liar, that they're all liars. And they're pissed off about this. John Fetterman, a Democrat, calling all of them out. Here's how he starts. He starts by saying, look, less than a year ago, President Biden upped the Maduro bounty to about $25 million. He had a bounty on Maduro's head for about $25 million. Removing Maduro was a positive for Venezuela. And as a Democrat, I don't understand why we can't acknowledge a good development for Venezuelans and how deft our military's execution plan was actually. So here's where it gets pretty crazy between Fetterman and other Democrats. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took it to X to basically rebuttal him and says, here's what she says, ladies and gentlemen. Let's actually read through this here, and I'll show you some video. She says it's not about drugs. If it was, Trump wouldn't have pardoned one of the most largest narco traffickers in the world last month. It's about the oil and regime change. And they needed trial now to pretend that it isn't, especially to distract from Epstein plus, skyrocketing healthcare costs.
You know, it was crazy is that, bro, at the end of the day, the United States has interest in Venezuela, bro. They're close to America. And China is in the mix with Venezuela and other countries. So why wouldn't America, as a country, as a superpower, do what they have to do to make sure that other countries aren't in our backyard? I mean, bro, it's just right, bro. I just don't understand how they try to make it seem like as if this is just crazy stuff, like as if like this isn't regular stuff for countries to do, bro. This is what they do. You know what I mean? They have a problem, they get rid of the problem. This guy Maduro was a problem. He was a problem. And even Fetterman says, I mean, what it is, the truth. And then you have AOC saying, oh, it's not that they all, you notice they all say the same exact stuff. It's not, they don't, none of them have their own brains and use, like Kamala literally said this exact same stuff, not verbatim, but literally the same thing. Oh, it's not the drugs. If it was, he wouldn't have pardoned the largest narco trafficker. Like, Kamala Harris literally said the same thing. They don't have, none of them have their own thoughts. They all just get these memos and say the same shit. They say the same shit. Worded a little different possibly, but they say the same shit, bro. None of them have their own thoughts whatsoever, bro. Yo, man.
And somebody like John Fetterman was actually disgusted by this. Again, he's disgusted by this. And I actually want to show you guys his reply to this because he's in awe that Democrats are literally just not saying. And by the way, I can make an argument that the reason wasn't just oil. It was to free the people. Millions asking for Maduro to be taken out. The whole Alofoque, right? Alofoque is one of the biggest shows in Dominican Republic history. Had like 3 Venezuelans on that show, and they were constantly pleading to Santiago Matias. Santiago Matias is somebody that met with Trump in Mar-a-Lago, who's the owner of that show, and they pleaded with him, please ask Trump to get rid of Maduro. This dude is like attacking journalists. He's kidnapping people. He's killing people. This Chavez regime needs to go. So we could argue that it's about Bitcoin. Did you guys hear about Bitcoin? 600,000 Bitcoin that the Maduro regime had. Could be about that. Could be about many different things. But why are Democrats not cheering on? What's happening? And again, someone is disgusted by the name of John Fetterman calling out AOC, calling out all these crazy Democrats.
So Senator Chris Murphy, your Democratic colleague, called the operation wildly illegal. America doesn't want this war. Nobody asked for this. And I think the most important conversation to have is Venezuela is not a security threat to the United States. They're not threatening to invade us. Do you want to take this on?
I respect my friend in Connecticut, but we have different views on this and perhaps other views as well. I just said this on my social media that, remind everybody that America is a force of good, order, and democracy, and we are promoting these kinds of values. We are the good guys. Let's pretend that now we are acting in a way. Now, remember, we all Democrats years ago wanted to eliminate him, and why have a bounty of $25 million if we didn't want him gone? Why would you do these things if you weren't willing to actually do something other than harsh language?
So there he is calling out the Democrats for basically being hypocrites, basically saying, well, all the Democrats years ago wanted to eliminate him. Why have a bounty of $25 million if we didn't want him gone? And by the way, nobody got hurt. Like, Maduro didn't get hurt, but I remember what happened to Saddam Hussein. I remember what happened to Gaddafi. I mean, I remember a lot about Obama, man.
Why we can't just acknowledge that it's been a good thing what's happened. I mean, I've seen the speeches from whether it's Leader Schumer or kinds of past tweets from President Biden. We all wanted this man gone, and now he is gone. I think we should really appreciate exactly what happened here. Now, remember, we all Democrats years ago wanted to eliminate him, and why have?
Notice that he said years ago they wanted to eliminate him. They wanted to kill this man. Now they're trying to act like Trump is. First of all, Trump never claimed that he was going to war with Venezuela. He just said that he's not leaving the option off the board to put troops on the ground. That doesn't mean he's going to war with them. At the end of the day, obviously, we see what he's trying to do. He's trying to make them play ball. It is what it is. Like, bro, like, this is what they do. But when, like, Louis made a good point. He says, we remember what the Obama administration did. You know what I mean? With Osama bin Laden, they went, killed him. Same thing with Gaddafi. We seen how Hillary reacted. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, stop. When they do stuff, bro, even small shit. Like when Obama, did construction on the White House. They were smiles, and it was a great thing. Trump builds a ballroom that taxpayers aren't even paying for. Obama used taxpayer money, but they want to make it seem like Trump, that's his interest. But look at all the shit that he's exposing within 1 year being in office, bro. This dude is exposing everything. Exposing everything. And listen, even Republicans, you see I think his name is Ron Paul, or it's a couple of them that was just exposed that are Republicans too. Like, so it's not just a Democrat thing, bro. He's exposing everybody and everything, bro. Everybody is going down. This stuff is deep, bro. This stuff is way deeper than what people think, bro. People think, oh, I believe, yes, the oil and all that stuff does play a vital part in all of this. It's money. I mean, of course. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know all the ins and outs of the whole oil situation. For what I heard, don't know how true it is, but America had interest there. For whatever reason, they had interest there, and then it was taken over by Maduro and his peoples. So, Trump basically said we need that back. That's the story. I don't know if it's the truth. I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, even Democrats, everybody wanted this guy gone. They said he used the word eliminated. We know what that means.
A bounty of $25 million if we didn't want him gone. Why would you do these things if you weren't willing to actually do something other than harsh language? Let's remember, 8 million Venezuelan were displaced and mass chaos. And now they were shipping drugs to our nation as well, too. So for me, it's like, why, as a Democrat, we can't just acknowledge that it was successful? I don't know why.
So, again, he's calling out AOC, Chuck Schumer, Chris Murphy, all these prominent Democrat congressmen and other senators as well that are calling this illegal, while also calling out the fact that they have tweets, they have actual proof that they were literally all coming together literally years ago. I'll go through them. I'll go through all these Democrats that want.
So basically, we will move from that story and get into this last story with RJ Talks. But he basically was breaking down Fetterman disagreeing with AOC, and Fetterman is right, bro. And they're mad. He's like the only base Democrat that I see. Like, he comes out on these issues and just keeps it real. He's a Democrat. He disagrees with things that Trump is trying to do or does or whatever the case may be, but he also keeps it real. Like, he's saying what it is. Listen, if this wasn't something that we wanted, why did Biden put $25 million on this man's head? And now that Trump did something about it, and they're just mad because he didn't come to Congress with it. Because he knew, and he said this, that it would have leaked. And we know it would have, bro. Why? Because even Republicans and Democrats were involved with Maduro. It's a lot to that, bro. I'm gonna actually play that tomorrow, bro. Brian Maxwell went into that whole story on that. Well, we'll play that. I'm gonna play that tomorrow because it was an interesting joint because it's just exposing what's really going on, man. And that's also it's about money, bro. Greed, money. These people are selling out America for money, for personal interest, bro. They're taking bribes. They're um, firing people who aren't on board, threatening people's careers, all types of stuff if they're not on board with what they have going on already. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about millions and millions of dollars, that, Trump is coming in and pulling the lid off of it, bro. Sheesh. On to the next story.
January 7th, and Governor Tim Walz is royally screwed. His political career
That
now
boy done
over.
up.
His attorney general as well, Keith Ellison, Barack Obama's best friend, also caught red-handed. All of it coming out today at the oversight hearing, just how complicit both of these guys are. Keith Ellison even caught on recording accepting what sounds like a bribe for votes, a quid pro quo for votes in return for protection for these fraudsters, for these Somali fraudsters. Unbelievable. Let's start with this.
Now they're looking at the state's attorney general, Keith Ellison. Why? Because the state's top cop here in Minnesota was caught in an audio recording behind closed doors meeting with a group of soon-to-be convicted Somali fraudsters. They were asking the attorney general for help to get more funding. Listen to this.
The only way we can protect what we have is by inserting ourselves into the political arena, putting our votes where it needs to be, but most importantly, putting our dollars in the right place and supporting candidates that will fight to protect our interests.
That's right.
You can only protect our interests when we have your back, and you don't have to worry about who's behind you.
Putting our votes where it needs to be. But most importantly, putting our dollars in the right place and supporting candidates that will fight to protect our interests. Our interest. The interest is the almighty dollar. And these people needed candidates. And this is why people have been screaming, at the top of their lungs about, taking money out of politics, lobbying and all of that stuff, because this is the stuff that's happening, is that people are buying politicians, getting them in, and this is the results. This is the results to all of this, man. Sheesh.
And also this group was talking about, as you heard there, supporting his campaign. So Keith Ellison is pushing back on this. He said that he takes fraud seriously. He shared in an op-ed writing this: I took a meeting in good faith with people I didn't know, and some turned out to have done some bad things. I did nothing for them, and I took nothing from them. But some of those now convicted Somali fraudsters did donate money to Ellison's campaign, according to documents obtained by the Center for the American Experiment.
That was the
You're done. You're done, my man. You're done.
highest law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota, Attorney General Keith Ellison, a good friend of Barack Obama, by the way, caught on a hidden recording accepting what sounds like a bribe, a quid pro quo. And here's where it gets crazy. Who was he speaking with? The attorney representing a group of these Minnesota Somali fraudsters, explaining to the freaking attorney general this illegal conspiracy. You help protect.
And what's crazy is that even Democrats were trying to expose this. Whistleblowers have been coming out, and have been basically blackballed, for saying anything. And, careers on the line, people getting fired, all types of shit. So it's not like this is new. This isn't new. This has been going on. People have, even a guy that was what was his name? What's his name? Mike or Dave or something like that? That was with Nick Shirley. This guy was investigating that whole daycare Somali fraud stuff like for years. For years. So this is nothing new, bro. They've been speaking on this, been talking about this. 100% sure during Biden's administration, they all knew what was going on. And this video right here, RJ Talk breaks this down and exposes how. No. I'm sorry. Actually, isn't this video? No, I know Matt Morris was also talking about this too. I was tapped into Matt Morris earlier. He was talking about, matter of fact, it was Matt Morris. He was talking about Kamala Harris. That was the reason why Kamala Harris, she's on the hot seat too right now. Like, all of these people are like in this whole thing, man. And that was the reason why, and it makes sense though. That was the reason why Kamala Harris picked Tim Walz, because Tim Walz was the bag with all the fraud going on in Minnesota. But it makes sense though, because, bro, come on, bro. You had the guy Josh Shapiro and you had Tim Walz. It's not even close, bro. This dude, Tim Walz and his fucking kooky ass fucking wife. Come on, bro. We know that now it makes sense why Kamala Harris picked him. It makes sense, bro. He was the train to the money. Goddamn.
Shut down the inquiries into this fraud, and we'll help keep you in power. Keep Democrats, keep your party in power. Saying we, meaning the Somali community, knows that they need to embed themselves into the political arena. They need to put their money in the right place and their votes, he said. This is like the worst case scenario. We assumed this was happening behind the scenes, but this is awful. The state of Minnesota has quite literally been hijacked, captured by special interests. In this case, the interests of the nation of Somalia, all the way up to the governor and the attorney general himself. This is like something you'd see in a movie. All of these native-born Minnesotans working in government, trying to blow the whistle on all of this for years, only to find out Keith Ellison and Tim Walz, their attorney general and governor, were working for the bad guys all along. Over 1,000 whistleblowers since 2020 trying to expose the fraud, this scandal. Good, hardworking Minnesotans, Americans, seeing the corruption and thinking, yeah, let's bring this to our superiors. Some even going as high as Walz and Ellison themselves, only to be terminated a week later or demoted. No joke.
That's crazy.
This is something you'd watch on like the Reacher series.
Thank you, Chairman Comer, for holding this important hearing. As I said on Monday, good riddance to Governor Walz, but he cannot escape accountability for the estimated $9 billion in fraud. How did this happen? And where the hell has the Twin Cities media been? The Star Tribune is complicit. They've had this story for years, if you just heard, and they've refused to report anything on it. In fact, they continue to try and cover up. Our Minnesota Republican colleagues have demanded answers and accountability for years, but have seen nothing from Walz, his administration, our Democrat colleagues like Tina Smith, Amy Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar, and Angie Craig, or the worthless Star Tribune. Thank God for President Donald J. Trump for finally bringing attention to this issue. Representative Rarick, I'm going to begin with you. You've been working on this issue for years. You've spoken to the whistleblowers personally. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You have an understanding that 1,000 whistleblowers running an account on X have come forward to expose fraud in Minnesota state agencies, and they have been entirely ignored by Tim Walz and have even been retaliated against. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Even this morning, I got another message.
Well, in your experience, are their claims credible or are they politically motivated against Walz?
They're completely credible, not politically motivated.
In fact, many of these are Walz administration employees, correct?
They are actually Democrats as well.
You're done. You're done, Timmy. And this is why he's trying to make an exit quick. He about to go to China. You know he loved China. Yo, bro, these people are frauds, bro. Straight sellouts, man. Selling out their own country, bro. The shit people do, bro, is wild, man. That's why, bro, in order to, it's got to be, just like police officers, bro. It needs to be a more of a, let's say, like, difficult process, like a more, they have to go through more training, more, same thing with politicians, bro. It has to be more done. You have to have more than a fucking college degree to be a politician. You got to have a background in some type of business. You have to be able to balance a budget. You have to be able to actually know what it's like to run something. How you gonna run a city when you can't even run your home? You know what I'm saying? Like, like this is why a lot of this stuff is happening, bro. And greed, of course. Greed is at the top of the list for sure. That's at the top. It's greed, bro. It's all boils down to greed, money, bro. It's just funny to me though that people genuinely think that these politicians love them and care about them and they support you so much. They really got your back. They're true patriots. Meanwhile, they over here beating it. You can't even fucking afford a fucking to fill your tank up and get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and these people out here splurging all on the dime of the taxpayer, bro. We out here busting our ass, working hard, you know, and they living a life. I'm about to get my kids to be a politician, bro. We in the wrong business, my people.
Can you quickly give us one example of the retaliation these folks have been facing?
Crazy.
Yes, I can. In my opening statement, I mentioned that the most severe ones was that they would be fired with cause, so they couldn't have unemployment insurance, that they would be blacklisted from all state agencies, and I bet that it's also Hennepin County and Ramsey County, as you know, those are Democrat-run, and much, much more.
Based on what you've learned, Representative, over the last several years, do you have any doubt that Governor Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
He absolutely knew that it was occurring.
And what's crazy about this is that Minnesota wants to vote these people out of office. If you look at the 2024 congressional election map in the state, real Minnesotans, native-born Minnesotans, voted overwhelmingly for Republican candidates. The only place that didn't was in Minneapolis. And you want to know why? Because there's over 100,000 Somali Americans now living there. What we're learning is that the Somali community largely votes in a block. And look at the margins. Minnesota's 2nd district, the Dem won by 55,000 votes. In Minnesota's 3rd district, the Dem won by 70,000 votes. This is how Minnesota became a one-party state. Tim Walz sold out his state, sold out Minnesota for power, and if he did it for Somalia, imagine if he were the vice president right now. He would have gladly done the same thing for China, for Iran, if it meant staying in power.
Demand that there's data practices, and if they have emails showing that I have committed fraud, you should get those. Why aren't they putting them out there? Why aren't they
Look at his face.
Turning
Look at his face.
over to prosecutors?
Look at his face. Boy, that's a face of a guilty man. This dude is crazy. He said, why aren't they turning him over? Bro, you think that, bro, listen, first of all, if these people are coming out, and I seen Caroline Levitt actually say that they're actually looking to, the DOJ is actually looking to go investigate Tim Walz. So said they got boots on the ground in Minnesota, bro. They not playing with this dude, bro. And they looking to make, listen, you got to understand something. You know, you had Letitia James get off, James Comey get off on these technicalities, right? Which I think was kind of a setup. I don't know. You know what I mean? Pam Bondi at this point, bro, is kind of suspect, bro. Things that have been happening, I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, stop it. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's try to give it a benefit of the doubt. I'm not. Most people are, though. But anyway, I think she should. Matt Gaetz should be in her position, dog. Should it be getting done right now? If Matt Gaetz was the Attorney General and he was running the DOJ, things would be getting done. Guaranteed, bro. Guaranteed. Pam Bondi is playing games. But we've seen it. Trump has been sounding the alarm about, basically like, bro, people are getting restless. People want to see, people held accountable. They want to see people in handcuffs, people going to court, going on trial. And you see, that's what Trump is looking for right now. And, the capturing Maduro is a whole nother situation with Venezuela. But at the same time, that put Trump even more up there with the people. You know what I mean? Like, he's up there. Like, his approval rating is going up even more. And that just made it even more better because it was so many people across. Like, I didn't even know that was like, I didn't really know too much about Venezuela, to be honest, until recently. And I'm like, damn, it's like actually a big deal. Like, it's a big thing. And these people are ecstatic. And I already knew it was, but when I seen Anna Navarro or The View actually say, like, she was happy that Trump did this, basically, pretty much, is what she was saying, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a big deal. So now it's like, okay, all this fraud going on in Minnesota. Now they on Tim Walz heels. They getting the information. This woman right here is a Republican, but she's saying that there's actual whistleblowers that are Democrats that were actually part of Tim Walz's administration who is saying that this dude knew about what was going on. He's involved.
And it's infuriating that some Democrats are still trying to defend this, excuse this. Any American who isn't outraged by this is a fool, especially Democrats, because this is their platform. All of their policies are based on expanding free benefits. They're the ones who should be especially outraged, but that's not what we're seeing. In fact, Keith Ellison telling CNN last night that his office, he says, has done more than enough to stop fraud in Minnesota. What?
Not that fraud is not a problem. Of course it is a problem. And of course we have to prosecute it. And of course we have been prosecuting it. But
have you done enough, General, to do so? I mean, one of the claims is that there has been hundreds of millions of dollars, but now there are some estimates that there could be $9 billion or more. And Noone was just suggesting they took hundreds of people off the street who were involved in fraud. Are you confident your office has done enough?
Of course we've done enough, and we're doing more every single day. This is a political matter. This is not a serious thing. And I tell you.
And at the oversight hearing today, instead of digging into the 1,000+ whistleblowers, many of them employees of Governor Tim Walz, Democrats choosing to talk about the 2020 election during a hearing on Minnesota fraud. They have some of these whistleblowers that they can speak to. They have people who know all about this sitting in front of them. Instead, they decide to throw the entire hearing into chaos. This is the state of the Democratic Party today. Watch.
He was an election denier, so an election fraud lie. Now, he claims he did these things in the name of patriotism, but really he's just a criminal. So raise your hand if you oppose Trump's pardon of this Minnesota individual.
Ma'am, this grandstanding nonsense
This is not grandstanding.
Exactly
this is
what
accountability.
Minnesotans hate about D.C.
This is accountability, and you are hypocrites. So again, I will take your refusal.
Thanks for demonstrating my opening
Mr. Chairman, order, decorum. She's off the rails.
Reclaiming my time. I'm not off the rails, please.
You are
Enough
totally
with your
off the
tropes.
rails.
Nancy,
Order.
enough with your tropes. Give me my time back.
Order, Mr. Chairman.
If Republicans were serious about reclaiming
time to me. You preserve time in my constituents. You have no time left. You get to accuse me of things at the change.
You're out of time. You're out of time.
You're out of
time. We're done here.
Out of time.
At least 10
She's out of time.
Time's expired.
Out of order and out of time.
Ms. Presley, you've already secured your MSNBC spot tonight.
I'm
your time's
I'm
required.
looking for
Chair
accountability,
recognizes Miss
and you
Mace
want to
from
run from the
South Carolina.
MSNBC.
Chair recognizes Miss Mace.
And this administration.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair
Chairman.
recognizes Miss
And
Mace.
Mr. Chairman, I agree. She's going to be a great host on MSNBC. This is my
I
time.
wouldn't want to jump in front of Miss Mace if I were you, Miss Presley.
I reclaim my time. This is my time.
I wouldn't want to interrupt Miss Mace. It's her time. Chair recognizes Miss.
Mr. Chair,
You're out of order.
she did not get all of her time.
Mr. Chairman,
She wants to insult us for 10 more seconds.
What do we have to do to get this woman in order?
Her time is expired. Chair recognizes
You're
Miss
going to be great on TV. You're really.
That's the state of the Dem Party in Congress. The far.
Hey, yo, shout out to RJ Talk. Hey, yo, for real, bro. That's really how them hearings be, bro. It's nothing but political garbage, bro. They just want clickbait. Like they say, MSNBC slot, like, it's garbage, bro. They don't want to answer the real questions that are being answered. So they want to bring up, like, it's like the stuff they bring up, it's just, nobody's even talking about it. It's not even, It's been probably debunked, all of it. Like everything that she just brought up was already debunked, and it's these people are crazy, bro. I don't see how people have faith in the Democrats any longer, bro. In government in general, but for sure the Democratic Party, bro. I just want to ask people a simple question. In 250 years, what have the Democratic Party done for Americans, bro? Like I'm talking about something that you could point out that is actually like beneficial, has been beneficial for even a singular group of people. Like what have they done? Like, and I ain't talking about because you could bring up great shit they done did for illegal immigrants. But we're not gonna talk about illegal immigrants. They're not Americans. I'm talking about for American citizens. What have Democrats have done? They listen. They didn't want to abolish slavery. This is a fact, right? They had a whole civil war. Democrats against Republicans, pretty much, with the whole war on slavery. They didn't want to abolish slavery. They with the Civil Rights Act, they filibustered it. They didn't want to, excuse me, they didn't want to pass that, but they knew that it was a lot of pressure, and they did it because they looked at the benefits of it. Then they gave you the Welfare Act, which is basically a bunch of free shit that keeps you dependent on the government, and told you that you can't have a man in a home in order to give it. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what have Democrats done for anybody in America that'll make you love this party so much, bro. I'm talking about people that actually watch politics, that are in tune with politics, that say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Like, what have Democrats done? Now, you can point out bullshit with Republicans too, for sure. But I'm just saying, bro, the Democratic Party, you try to act like they're holier than thou, and they're for the people. They're so patriotic. But yet, you see what Trump is uncovering with all of this stuff that's going on, bro. And like people get their favorite line, it's not working though. Oh, this is just a revenge tour. It's a revenge tour. Okay. Like my whole thing is, if there wasn't receipts attached to all of these allegations, then it would be a revenge tour. It would just, it would be pretty much nothing. But there's receipts attached to all of this fraud that's going on, all of the fraud, waste, and abuse within the government with all of these departments like USAID. It's all receipts attached to these allegations. You know what I'm saying? Even with Letitia James and Comey, even though they got off on a technicality, it's receipts attached to all of these different things, bro, to all these different components. And hey, man, we're gonna see what's gonna happen, bro. But very interesting, bro. Very interesting. I see people online, and my thing is this: like, I'm not like I actually want to start getting into other topics because but the political shit is fun to me. It's interesting. I find it very interesting, like the stuff that is going on. Like I like history. I'm into it, so it's interesting to me. So I'll probably continue talking about it, but I do want to get into other things, different content and whatnot. But I see people and their whole existence on YouTube is like, just glazing Trump. It's like Trump, like, and it just it's I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. I don't understand it. Hey, to each his own, man. We're cooked though, tell you that much. But I hope things get better, man. Like I always say this, bro. The only thing that I worry about is that these people, Donald Trump is fucking with their money. He's exposing them. We talking about people like eventually probably going to jail, bro. Like, let's be honest, it's a lot of things that is going on. Like people like Tim Walz, and like this stuff trickles down, bro. Like Kamala Harris might have knew what was going on. Like we don't know what this investigation is going to bring about. But when people start going to jail, that actually just imagine Tim Walz. He was just the candidate for vice president. Like if he goes to jail, that's a big story. That's a big deal. These people start going to jail, bro. That's when people get desperate. That's when it's like, oh, I ain't going to jail. You know what I'm saying? People start coming up missing. All types of shit gets end up happening. But the thing that I worry the most though on all this is that Trump actually being successful, not just in this stuff. Like, obviously we want to stop wasting taxpayer money. Like, fuck, we are paying money. Most of us hate paying taxes. So the fact that we hate paying tax and we're paying it anyway, we're working, we're struggling to survive, but yet they're taking our taxpayer money and they're just giving it to illegal immigrants. They're putting it, stuffing it in their pockets. They're becoming rich, right? Meanwhile, we're struggling. You know what I'm saying? So that's enough to make anybody like say, fuck it. You know what I mean? But these people are desperate. And if Donald Trump is successful in weeding out all of this fraud, waste, and abuse, right? So stopping it, and then on top of that, holding people accountable, that's a recipe for, a possible disaster down the line. And I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong, to be honest with you. That's why I say Democrats, their best play when Kamala Harris lost this election, though, especially the way she did. She lost she didn't win anything. They should have said, you know what, we're going to have to get on board because I know we pissed this dude off. So no matter what you say, bro, you're human. Anybody that was in Trump's shoes would be doing the things that Trump is doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would be going after people too. Like, not just for nothing, though. Obviously, like, it's got to be legit. But I would be going after people too. Like, fuck you talking about? Y'all try to kill me. Y'all try to bankrupt me. Y'all try to, y'all embarrass me. Y'all associated me with crazy shit. Like, man, fuck out of here, bro. I would have been on the same tight time, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. So, but anyway, man, that's the show for today, man. If you fuck with the show, make sure you like, share, comment, and also subscribe. Matter of fact, hit the subscribe button for me right now. Your boy on the road to 1K subscribers. Can't get there without you. Anybody that does hit that button for me, I truly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. This your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out. Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again. Lose again, lose again, lose again, lose again.